What is up? What is up? This is alertwolf here to bring you another review, and this one, excuse me, and this one is Blast of Tempest, episode 18. And I'm gonna cheat here. This one's called The Dancing Princess. All right, now I'm not gonna lie. This episode, at least the first half of the episode, hit the emotional button. It did. It hit the little heartstrings for a Valentine's Day episode that it was. Because basically, the first half of the episode can be described as dealing with the knowledge that was presented at the end of the last episode, which is who Yoshino was dating. Obviously, Mihiro's sister. So, and each group, Mihiro's group, and obviously Yoshino and the princess, dealing with these things at the same time. Alright, I'm gonna get to Mihiro's group. Now, he didn't want to believe it because they don't get along, but the more and more my man, the Mage of Exodus, talks about this, the more and more it just smacks everybody in the face. He does, and again, he's like, guys, I don't know why this didn't occur to any of you. This makes perfect sense. You know, Mihiro had to leave the room. He's like, no, this isn't right. Her girlfriend's still alive, right? He's like, yeah, but Yoshino's the only one talking to her. This makes perfect sense. And Samon is like, I can't predict anything. My vision into the future can't predict not a thing. And then they're like, he's like, one death sent the logic of this world into chaos. One death. Now, there's the thing. When he said that, I'm like, oh, put two and two together. Who's the Mage of Exodus's heart? Really? Come on. We all know it's the Princess of Exodus. It is his sister. Come on. I've been saying this the whole time. This is my prediction on this. But this is how I view it. So it's crazy. Now, June makes a good point. He's like, oh man, if Hagase ever found out, if the princess ever found out that who's his girlfriend really, that would lead to her wanting to do bad things. And then the Mage of Exodus is like, what? She'd take revenge and destroy for her precious Yoshino. She'd destroy the tree of Genesis. And they looked at him like he's like, no, fuck it, really? And then that's that scene right there. At the same time, because they were flip-flopping back and forth, we get her interactions with Yoshino. Now, and I'm going to say this before I switch. In part of the arguing back and forth, basically, Mihiro saying there's no way. He's like, no. He was fine when she died. There's no way he could have been dating her. How could he keep it together? And then the Mage of Exodus is like, yeah, but when this whole thing was going on, and even now, I mean, think about it. You guys came from the same place. All your friends, your town was destroyed. All your friends and family are dead. But yet that never seemed to bother you. Because he's like, maybe he's the type of guy that doesn't show it. He's like, yeah, it's like when I met both of you, it's like both of you are already numb because you've already lost the most important thing to you. And that's when Mihiro leaves the room. Now, and it's an important point because this is my segue into the other side, but it is because they were both numb and they were both, they and that's why Mihiro didn't see it in him. And, so then Hagase is confronting Yoshino on the other side now. And basically, why aren't you mad? Why aren't you angry? You know, why aren't you feeling anything? How could you have been hiding this? And he's like, what difference would it have made? It makes no difference. She can't come back. You know, I can't. There's no way to bring her back. And so Hagase pounds on him because he admits that he's never grieved for her death, and he's like, well, what good would grieving do? And she knows that she has to push him to get him to break because he's been holding it all in, and she sees this and she loves him, so she needs him to break a little, to let it out. And she's like, well, why don't you hate me? And he's like, why would I hate you? Even if it, you know, she's horrified to find out who it was. And he's like, even if it was the Tree of Genesis, it wasn't your fault. You had nothing to do with it. You had no way of knowing, you know. Can't blame you. What good is blaming you? And he doesn't want her death to lead to other tragedy. He wants things to end like the Tempest, as opposed to Macbeth. And he was like, you know, she's like, well, what made you act? What made you save me? And so part of it was the tragedy reason. And then he remembered about the Tempest and about how I got, you know, used to vote it to him. So, you know, so in her head, so she's like, even then you were acting in her stead. So, you know, it is true. And so this back and forth goes for a while, and finally she gets him to break. And I'm not gonna lie, when Yoshino broke, bro, that was done so well, you know, and you could see it right before that because his eyes changed, because he started feeling the pain, you know, and they did this rather well in the anime because they switched back and forth between the two sets of scenes when we got to this point about how he didn't break, and so that was done really well. And then finally he broke and fell to his knees and started crying about it, and she's like, it's okay, you know, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and she hugs him. That scene right there got me. I did share like 2 man tears, one out of each eye and nothing, but I'm not gonna lie, like a man tear went down, like what? Like, you know, sometimes, you know, an emotional scene like that, that's what it's supposed to do to you. Being Valentine's Day, you know, and the build-up was great. So then the second half of the episode shows up, and obviously, considering how emotionally charged the first half of the episode was, and they divided this too. They put in the middle of the episode, they put in episode 18. You know, with the dancing princess. They put that in. Just so we were aware that the emotional stuff is going to be left behind, and now it's time for a little bit of action in this episode. So, obviously, it's hard to trump that emotionally charged feeling you get. But yeah, she something she said right before the break is she would make if it was the Tree of Genesis, that she would make the Tree of Genesis pay for what it did to them. So she's very angry right now. And on the other side, the other group is worried. What if the princess did find out? We have to monitor her. So they sent June to go keep an eye on the princess. So she talks to the princess. He talks to the princess. And he's like, she's acting a little too confident right now. The nervousness is gone. She seems like she's in stronger love. And she's talking about destroying the Tree of Genesis. And she's like, well, if it blocks me, like, she's going to try to destroy the Genesis. If it's really about my will and it lets me destroy him, then I know it's a just God. But if it tries to block, then I know I was just a tool, and then it's something I need to destroy. And June's line, but under that logic, doesn't that mean you're just destroying the Tree of Genesis? Either way. And she's like, well, yeah, about that. And the next thing we get is that she locks him in a room, and basically they give you with flashbacks what's going on. Because basically the Mage of Exodus goes to destroy his next tree, root tree thing. And as he's attacking, the princess shows up in like ceremonial robes and whatnot with like a veil covering her face, and she starts attacking and causing the tree to fight back. Simone figures this out, that she wants to destroy the Tree of Genesis. She's just trying to train him so that he's strong enough to do this, because right now he's not. So there's an epic fight going back and forth, and in that fight we do get a flashback of the princess deciding to do this. She locks what's his face in his room. She gets the thing, the outfit, and she's like, well, what do you think people are going to call me? He's like, probably the Witch of Genesis. And she goes, witch? But I don't look like a witch in this getup. And he goes, maybe the Dancing Princess. And it's the name of the episode. So we get this cool fight between the two of them. Obviously, he's no match for the princess. She has to make it look good. So when she realized that he was exhausted, she called an end to the fight by putting herself into the water like she was disappearing. And he was instructed that he has to destroy the tree to make it look like the Mage of Exodus 1. And so that's what he does. And then the last little bit we get is Yoshino's on a train, and he sees he gets a missed call from Mahiro. Now, he didn't know, nobody told him Mahiro was awake yet and out of his coma. So he's like, the princess is moving, Mahiro is awake, I need to act too. And that's the episode. So, and then they show Mahiro. Now, Mahiro's been in shock since this whole thing happened. They said he was cleaning like a crazy person by himself, and he throws his phone down and walks away. So these two are gonna eventually meet and butt heads. And that was the episode. All in all, I'm gonna give this episode anytime you could make me shed a man tear. It was a good episode. So I'm gonna give this episode a 4 out of 5. It had a very strong, almost 5 out of 5 opening, and then sort of with the action at the later half of the episode, the action was good, but it just paled in comparison because of the way they had to do the episode. You would want that to be first and not last, because then the episode felt like it tapered off because the other one was so good. And that one was more like a 3.5 for the second half of the episode, or 3. So I'm going to meet at the middle here from a 3 to a 5 and just call the episode a 4. And that's my reasoning for it. I think the emotionally charged stuff was amazing. The action in the end was good. Things are getting really good. So I'm definitely enjoying this villainless anime. And that's enough out of me. So click it up if you like it, comment if you must, and please, please, please subscribe if you can. And this is alertwolf signing off.